I'm with Jeremy Kent Jackson. I was gonna say co-lead of this really awesome Western Gunslingers. Co-lead, is that correct, Jeremy? Jeremy?
Man, you're like, give me an upgrade. I like that. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I think
Oh,
so.
okay. I really had a good time with this movie. That said, I interviewed Brian about a month and a half ago, and he said shooting Gunslingers was rough as far as just it was a tough shoot.
Yeah.
You're there. What was so tough about it?
Well, and I don't want to throw Skiba under the bus here. I like this guy. I love him so much, actually. But it's kind of tough because Brian Skiba, I've worked with him one time before on a little Lifetime movie that probably had a fraction of the budget that this one had. Brian Skiba don't play. He like wants to make a $400 million, like epic feature with, like a little tiny bag full of money and resources and stuff. And he's pretty capable. So I think some of the challenge that happens on his sets happens because his vision is so big and his capability is so expansive. He can get a lot done with a little, but in doing that, in reaching for that, he's pressing everybody around him. You need to be on your game and ready to go if you're going to meet his vision. So yeah, it was a wild ride. It was a wild ride for sure, but it was a blast as far as I'm concerned.
How on the game did you have to be during the production? Because your character is very layered and he has some of the most operatic lines and moments in the movie. So, how did you get ready? Because I mean, I love Cage's performance, but you have the operatic role in the film, I think.
And Greg, I love how you're saying that. I keep saying Shakespearean. Like when this script came my way, I read it and I literally called Brian up. I was like, dude, you wrote some Shakespeare here, man. This is like Macbeth. This is like Hamlet. This is like, some serious stuff. But I love that actually, operatic. That's great. Really extreme highs, extreme lows. That's what drew me to it. Yeah, I'm so caught up on operatic. What was the question again,
Yeah,
Greg?
just how did you prepare? How do you prepare for something like that where
Yeah.
it's a really larger than life type of character? And as a Western fan, I loved watching it. So.
Good, good, man. I'm glad to hear it. Yeah, how did I prepare for it? I think first off, I only had about 4 days. So it's pretty quick. I got the call maybe 4 or 5 days before they were ready to shoot, and Brian was like, "Man, I think I got your role and the opportunity, and it's hitting. Can you be here on Monday?" And I was like, "Send me the script. Let's do this thing." And so for me, it's about cracking that script open, asking some really quick, basic, sounds like basic questions, but they're the important ones for me, which are, where is the love in the scene? For me, that's what it's all about. And this script gifted me a lot of that really complex relationships, brother relationships, husband-wife relationships, father-daughter relationships. And when you've got that at the heart of a story, it doesn't matter if you're, on Planet Zoltar or you're in Cave City, Kentucky in 1907, you've got opera, right? If you've got that, because these are the type of relationships in our own lives, in real life, right, that pull out our most expansive set of emotions, right? And create hot pursuit, right? These are the people we need things from. And when you need things from people who aren't giving it to you, or who fail to give it to you, or who fake like they give it to you, but then don't and betray you, this is when the opera begins, right? So for me, it was finding the heart of the story, finding the love in the scene where it was lost, where I needed to be regained, all that kind of stuff. And then, doing the basics, memorizing the heck out of it so that I could play with it like it was Play-Doh on set, and living with these incredible other actors, just being nimble enough to play with them and let it be something different than I imagined.
So one thing that I really love is Robert, he's the big bad in the movie. But the scary thing for me is when I'm watching it, I go, Robert, you kind of make a good point there. Is that kind of cool playing a character who may be the big bad, but he might have a couple of salient points, and that's kind of scary, right? You're not playing that black and white kind of character.
Absolutely, yeah, man. I've played a lot of bad guys actually, and I've never ever approached a character as if they're the big bad. That's for somebody else to decide, right? And you're not wrong about it, at the end of the day. But for me, from my vantage point, I'm never going to approach a character that they're bad because nobody wakes up in the morning and goes, today I shall be bad, right? They respond and react to things that happen to them in their life. They, need and want things, and they're pursuing those things from the people that have the power to give it to them. And and if they continually fail over and over and over again, they start running out of tools, right? They're going to reach for the things that are the most primal, the most animal, and that's kind of what I see this script as. Is like he starts the movie with the whole bag of tools and he tries them all out. And to your point, you watch him get denied, you watch him fail, you watch people on the other side of him make choices to not help him out. And so that tool goes away, that tool goes away, and by the end, all he's got left is his teeth and his claws, right? And he's still going to get what he wants, and you can't blame him for trying, right? I hope that's what the audience takes.
It seems from a lot, big part of the movie is gunfights. And from your vantage point, how physically demanding was the shoot? Because it seems like a lot of that narrative is action based, which is very interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it was very physically demanding, man. We were on set, freezing cold, super hot. Like the weather was changing all the time. We're on our feet, constantly moving around, running, smashing our hand through glass windows and blowing stuff up and whatnot. So yeah, it was really physically demanding. That's why I always say as an actor, you got to be ready all the time because you never know when this call is coming, right? So you got to take care of your instrument and all that stuff. That's mind, body, and spirit, right? I think you got to be ready to go. Um, but the truth of it is things like this get pulled off and look cool, and we have a good time with it because of the team that's around you. That's the truth of it. We had an extraordinary team put together behind the scenes there. 5150 Action, those guys who were handling the second unit and all the stunts. Our armorers were like just extraordinary, not only, button down on protocol, but also historians when it comes to the weapons and creative and all of that stuff. Our fire guys and our smoke guys and all the whole team, man, just like wrapped their arms around us, created a really safe space. I always say you got to, in order to act dangerous on set, you got to feel very safe. And these guys created a really safe space for us to just go wild. It was fun.
For you as an actor, what does it mean to have something like actor craft and working with fellow actors, not just as an instructor, but as a person who learns from the learning comes both ways? Is that one of the reasons why you decided to form this? And what does it give you, not just as an artist, but as a human being moving forward in your journey?
Yeah, man. Thanks for asking about that. Yeah, Actorcraft, my little studio, just started a couple of years ago up here. It's kind of a continuation of what I've always done. So ever since I started acting 20, 30 years ago, I always sought acting opportunities and I always sought teaching acting opportunities everywhere I've gone. Because for me, it's a home base. It's a foundation on which to stand, like the acting work, it comes and goes and it's dramatic. Just the getting of acting work is dramatic. It's like sometimes you have it, sometimes you don't. And if when you don't, you fall to the ground, you get crushed. A lot of actors can't survive it, right? But for me, I always think of my teaching and my studio work as this really great solid foundation on which to land in between gigs. And like you said, there's just no better way to hone your craft than to communicate it to those who are learning themselves and for them to demonstrate it back to you. They're teaching you all the time. They're giving you amazing ideas and they're making you a better human and a better artist as well. So yeah, I'm just so grateful. Any 5 minutes I spend in the studio looking at somebody else's acting, getting my eyes off of me and onto them, or 5 minutes I'm grateful for. Made me a better person, better artist for sure.
Is it not even just the idea of giving back? Is it about receiving? Is that one of the reasons why you started it? I don't know how when you started it, but it seems like a very value added situation for both parties involved, and it's a
Yeah.
great, yeah.
Absolutely. It's like I said, I think it is about giving back. But I'd be lying to you if I didn't acknowledge the comeback too. I mean, acting is one of those things. Like I always describe acting as like creme brulee. It's like the most delicious dessert there ever was. And teaching acting for me is like the most nourishing meal, right? Because it is, like you said, it is a give, no doubt about it. You are giving of yourself to another to help them grow and evolve as an artist and a human being, right? And in turn, you get a little benefit from that, right? Because you get to, you get to talk about what you love all day long. You get to see how it impacts people. You have to really choose your words strategically and wisely, which means you're constantly breaking down your craft because you got to get it into a different instrument each student that comes along. So it is absolutely a give, and a take, a little bit of a take. It's a relationship. And that's what's so cool about, education. And I've been doing it. Like I said, I had a theater education company in LA for about 15, 16 years. And I don't care who I'm teaching. I love teaching little 5-year-olds. I love teaching 85-year-olds. I got an 85-year-old student right now who's one of the best actors I've ever met. She's never acted a day in her life, but she knows life, man. She's been around and she's got opinions about stuff, and she's a heck of an artist. And I got a 5, 6-year-old student right now who's epic also. So everybody's a charge for me, man.
Thanks so much for your time, Jeremy. Really loves talking with you. But Gunslingers, after Gunslingers, as a recommendation, what other Western, very quick out, what other Western do you love that you'd recommend to our listeners? And thanks for your time.
Man, I got to tell you, everybody in the world, if they haven't seen it already, it happened a few years ago, but that series 1883 that Taylor Sheridan put out, that I think it's 10 episodes, some 10 of the best episodes of TV I've ever seen. Certainly Western TV, but TV period, I think.
Right.
So,
Great job on Gunslingers. Talk to you very soon.
thanks, buddy.
All
Bye
right,
bye.
take care. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. For more movie and television reviews and interviews, please subscribe to my Deepest Dream channel. Like, comment, share, subscribe. And as always, thanks so much for your support. Take care.